internet blogs are like tsunami. You find a way how newspapers can catch a piece of fast-growing blogosphere.
Yeah.
The question is how to do this.
You need to go out into the community, into the internet, and search by either your community, your country, your city, whatever your circulation area is. Find the quality bloggers, because there are probably tens of thousands of bloggers, and even if 10% of those are good, that's still a ton of content. And then you bring them in, you write them a letter, you send them an email rather, you call them up on the telephone, and you say, we would like to bring you in to the newspaper's website and print pages. Excerpt it in the print pages, and the current post on the website pointing back to your website. So what we're going to do is we're going to initially draw the traffic to our website and then send it to you. So you're going to gain vastly more readers than you could even dream of today because of the power of the newspaper. And we're going to have content as a newspaper that is more relevant to our readers, that has a greater reach, because as a newspaper, most newspapers are run by a very small group of mostly older, mostly male people who don't have a clue what's going on in the community at large, particularly the younger community. And so we need what's going on in the blogosphere out there to be brought in to bring people from the community into the paper and the website.
Imagine I'm a publisher. Do I risk our hard-earned credibility by opening sites to everybody?
Okay, you do not open it to everybody. The whole idea here is that you're going to use the brand value that you have, your judgment, the history of your good reporting on all of that, to find the best bloggers, not all the bloggers. Because if you're finding all the bloggers, what value have you added that somebody can't get by going to Google? You're going to save your readers the time of searching for the very best bloggers writing about Viennese fashion or Viennese football. You're going to give them the best, and that's what you do. That's what your business is you provide the high quality information about their market in whatever vertical is they're interested in. So unless you don't do the research that you should do before you allow a blogger to appear on your site, you're not risking anything. It's just like when a newspaper hires a columnist or a freelancer. You've read the freelancer's clips, you've looked at the columnist's performance, and you decide, I'm going to put this person on my website and in my newspaper, or I'm not. You do the same thing with bloggers. High standards.
And what's happening if the blogger breaking the rule?
You cut them off. At the end of story, they're gone. And when you talk to them, you make it very, very clear that if you go off the reservation, so to speak, if you screw up, you are going to lose this incredible opportunity. And it probably won't come back.
Did you test this concept, or it's only a smart idea?
Oh, no. I founded a company called BostonNOW. I was the founding editor-in-chief. We launched with the premise that we were not going to be just another free newspaper in Boston, Massachusetts. We were going to be a free newspaper that included bloggers. So that theory, we're going to bring the community into the paper, put them on our website, excerpt them in the newspaper. We, in 1 year, had 3,900 bloggers who put their blog on our site. We had anywhere from double to triple to quadruple the traffic in a year that the other free newspapers around the United States had after either 1 to 7 years of existence. The only difference between us and those other free newspapers was bloggers.
How did you monetize it?
We monetized it by putting them into the vertical that they were writing about. And then we attracted advertisers who wanted to reach the people, because advertisers are not interested in a general audience. So if you put an advertiser ad somewhere that's not related to what they're selling and is not getting the traffic, it's not going to work. But advertisers know if you have vetted these bloggers and they're in an area of interest, it could be a very narrow vertical, they know that's where the people are going to go who are interested in dance or fashion or sport or whatever it is, and those bloggers are going to pull an audience in with them. And that's how you monetize it. And then we monetize it too by offering the companies a blog of their own, a site of their own, where instead of just banner ads, they're engaging in interactivity and interaction with their customers. It works great. We had a $90,000 deal with a bank that wanted to talk to young people about putting their money away when they graduate. Then we had two $10,000 deals that I can recall with condo developers who wanted to talk to young people about buying their first condo. How do you go about it? And people would actually write back and forth and said, they weren't afraid of criticism. One of the people wrote back and said, my sink is leaking, or they had a complaint. No problem. There was a chance to address a problem, to look like they were proactive and help a consumer, And that was great. It was fantastic. So there's what, $120,000, $110,000.
Did you engage young bloggers?
Oh yeah. Yes, we were looking for all bloggers, but in particular young bloggers, because that was the segment of the population that newspapers are losing. And if we don't get them to come into the newspaper now, we're not going to get them. So a good example was I went and grabbed an entertainment blog, an excerpt of it, from not one of my sites, from a Boston site. We put it in the paper. The editor was mad about it. We met for lunch, and I said, let's not fight, let's cross-promote. So we cross-promoted, and at the end of the conversation, the woman who wrote the piece said, now that we're friends, I got to tell you, when that appeared in the paper, all my friends were on the phone. The phone was ringing off the hook saying, this is so exciting. Your blog is in the paper. This is great. And she said, I want a tear sheet. Yeah. And I said, look, Caroline, just print out the PDF. And she says, no, I want the real thing. So here was a 22, 23-year-old woman who didn't read newspapers. She wanted the tear sheet. She called all of her friends. Her friends started to call me and said, can I get my blog in your paper? So this was a generation that wasn't reading newspapers and now was reading newspapers. Not only were they reading it, they were like proselytizers. They were apostles out there telling people, go read this paper. This is a great little paper. They understand us. They have content written by us or by people like us. So it's a viral marketing campaign. It's fantastic.
What gimmicks did you use to tell them, or to tell them that your blogging platform will be better than they used before?
It doesn't take a lot of convincing, because most bloggers, there are a few bloggers that get a lot of traffic, but most bloggers don't. And if you're saying, I'm going to make your blog available to, we printed 110,000 copies in Boston. The readership of that was anywhere from 200 to 300,000 people. If you go to a blogger and say, I'm going to put you in front of 200, 300,000 people, or when I worked with the LA Times and said, we're going to put you in front of 800,000 people, it doesn't take a lot of convincing. That's a lot of eyeballs.
What about politicians? Did they come to you asking for a space on your blogging platform?
No, and we wouldn't have given it to them. That's like free advertising. If a politician wants to get on there, they should pay like an advertiser would.
At the end, did any blogger came to you and ask for paying money?
To be paid? Right at this point in time, what I think is a fair trade is traffic for content. Most bloggers, very few bloggers have enough traffic to make money. What they need is traffic. What we offer is traffic. What I want is content. So right now I think it's a fair trade. For example, the story I told yesterday was the head of the American Bloggers Association was accredited by the Associated Press to cover the Libby trial in Washington, D.C. He was the first blogger to get Associated Press credentials. I asked him, did they pay you? And he said, no. And I said, did the papers who picked up your feed pay you? And he said, no. And I said, did that bother you? And he said, no. And I said, why not? He said, because I've optimized my site for monetization, which meant that what he said was the traffic that AP sent in my direction was far more valuable than, say, a $25 or $50 freelance check. So for now, I think it's a fair trade. In the future, if a newspaper, say, chooses to take somebody, a blogger's excerpt and put it in their paper a lot, they then are saying, this is a pretty valuable piece of property here and maybe we should start paying them. But there are also lots of very creative ways of paying bloggers, including getting advertisers to give them something of value. So if you're a photography blogger, then you find an advertiser like Canon who would give the blogger a coupon to go spend in their online or their bricks and mortar store. So I think for now we're okay with bloggers not getting paid but getting a lot of traffic.